Good morning students. In this video we are going to see about critical path method. It is one of the project management techniques used to calculate the entire project duration required to complete a particular project. In this problem they are asked to find the critical path EST, LFT, LST and LFT, total float, independent float, free float and inference float for the following informations given below. So the activity, predecessor activity and the duration are given in the table. As a first step for this project, we have to construct the network diagram using activity and events. To construct the network diagram, as you know, this two are said to be as the events and this is said to be as the activity. Here predecessor, this is the predecessor activity and this is the, if suppose this is activity A and this is activity B, the predecessor activity of B is this and the successor activity of B is this. So 0 is the predecessor activity of A and 1 is the predecessor, for B, A is the predecessor activity and for C also A is the predecessor activity. So before means it is predecessor, for A, B is the successor activity. Likewise you have to draw the network diagram using this predecessor, and the duration of completion of A activity is 2 and duration of completion of B activity is 8 and duration of completion of activity C is 10. Likewise I have constructed the network diagram for the given data. A activity, the duration is 2 and for B activity the duration is 8. For C activity the duration is 10. For D activity the duration is 6. For E activity the duration is 3 and for F activity the duration is 3 and for G activity the duration is 5. For I activity the duration is 2. For J activity the duration is 8 and for H activity the duration is 7. Likewise you have to construct the network diagram. After construction of this network diagram, here both A, for B and C activity the predecessor activity is A. So for both B and C the predecessor activity is A. So likewise we have to draw the network diagram. For D and F, for D and F the predecessor activity is B. For D and F the predecessor activity is B. For for E activity the predecessor activity is C. For D and E the predecessor activity is, for G the predecessor activity is D and E. Likewise you draw the network diagram. After construction of this network diagram you have to find out the critical path. For finding out the critical path you have to calculate EST and LFT. You have to find out the EST and LFT for this particular node. EST is nothing but earliest start time and LFT is nothing but latest finish time. EST is starting time of this activity is 0 and the starting time of this activity is 0 plus 2, that is 2, and the starting time of this activity is, for B activity is 2 plus 8, that is 10, and for C activity the starting time of this activity is 2 plus 10 is 12. For F activity the starting time is 10 plus 3, that is 13. For this activity you have two nodes connecting to activities connecting to this. This is forward pass calculation. EST is calculated using forward pass, so you have to take the maximum of this. So 10 plus 6 is 16, another one is 12 plus 3 is 15. So maximum is 10 plus 6 16, write like this 16, and 12 plus 3 is 15. So maximum of this is 16, so you consider 16. Next one is 12 plus 7 is 19. 12 plus 7 is 19, and here you have three nodes. So first one is 13 plus 2 is 15, and here you have 16. 16 plus 5 is 21, and here you have 19 plus 8 is 27. So the maximum among this is 27. So this is 27. Next one is latest finish time, LFT. For considering LFT you have to start by backward pass method. So backward pass means from the back you have to calculate. For that we have to subtract this time minus duration time. So 27 minus 2 is 25. Here 27 minus 5 is 22. Here 27 minus 8 is 19. Here 19 minus 7 is 12. 19 minus 7 is 12. Here you have two nodes, so 19 minus 7 is 12. Here you have 22 minus 3 is 19. So minimum among this is 12. When you are going forward pass you have to consider the maximum one, backward pass you have to consider the minimum one. Here also you have 25 minus 3 is 22. Here 22 minus 6 is 16. So 16 minus 8 is 8. 12 minus 10 is 2. So from minimum among 6 and this is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. This is how EST and LFT is calculated. Next we have to find out the critical path. From this network diagram you have to find out the critical path. Critical path is that path which has both common EST and LFT. So here we have EST as 0 and LFT as 0. Similarly here 2 and 2, here 10 and 16. So you have to choose another one, 12 and 12. So this is the critical path, the path which has the common EST and LFT. So this path is said to be as the critical path. Here you have different values, so you take this value and this one. So the critical path is 0 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 7. Or else you can write it as A to C, C to H, H to J. And the total project duration is 2 plus 10 plus 7 plus 8. That is equal to 12, 19, 27 days. It is given in weeks, so it is 27 weeks. So total project duration to complete this project is 27 weeks. Next, using this network diagram we have to calculate the total float and free float, independent float and inference float. Using this network diagram we have calculated this EST and LFT. This you have to enter into the table first. After that we can calculate other things. So first one is EST. EST for this particular project is 0. In this activity table, we have given this activity duration, and EST is this. We have calculated that the EST in the network diagram. So it is 0 to 10, 0 to 10. Earliest start time of C is also 2. After that you have to write 10, 12. For E it is 12. For F it is 10. For F it is 10. For G it is 16. For H it is 12. For H activity is 12. For I it is 13. For J it is 19. So then next one is LFT. LFT of A is 2. LFT of B is 16. LFT of C is 12. LFT of D is 22. Likewise, you have to enter the LFT. From this network diagram you can write. After that you have to calculate this EST and LFT is calculated using forward pass, and this LST and LFT is calculated using backward pass. This is using forward pass and this is using backward pass. To calculate EFT is EST plus duration. So 0 plus 2 is 2, 8 plus 2 is 10, 10 plus 2 is 12, 16, 15, 13, 21, 19, 15, 27. This is LST. LST is LFT minus duration. So LFT is this, minus duration is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Then 16 minus 8 is 8. 12 minus 10 is 2. 22 minus 6 is 16. 22 minus 3 is 19. 25 minus 3 is 22. 27 minus 5 is 22. 19 minus 7 is 12. 27 minus 2 is 25. 27 minus 8 is 'Next you have to calculate the total float. Total float is calculated using the formula LFT minus EFT. LFT minus EFT. LFT is this and EFT is this. 2 minus 2 is 0. Then 16 minus 10 is 6. 12 minus 12 is 0. 22 minus 16 is 6. 22 minus 15 is 7. 25 minus 13 is 12. 21 minus 21 is 6. 19 minus 19 is 0. 27 minus 15 is 12. 27 minus 27 is 0. So this is total float. Total float is LFT minus EFT. LFT minus EFT, this. After this you have to calculate, from this it's also you can note down this is the critical path. The total float value, if it is 0, that is corresponds to the critical path. So the critical path is A, C, H and G. The same thing we got in this network diagram also. A, C, H and G. So using this total float also we can calculate the critical path, and using this also you can calculate the critical path. Next one is free float. The formula to calculate the free float is earliest start time successor minus earliest finish time. Earliest start time successor minus earliest finish time. It is the free float. To calculate free float, you have to consider the earliest start successor node. Earliest start time of successor node of A is this. So first one is 2 minus EFT. 2 minus 2 is 0. Similarly, earliest start time of the successor node B is this. So 10 minus 10 is 0. Likewise, earliest node is this is C is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. So next one is for D. It is 16. 16 minus 16 is 0. Next one is F. F is 13. 13 minus 12, it is 1. Then for F it is G. For G it is 27. 27 minus LFT 27. Successor EST of the successor node is 27. 27 minus 27 is 0. Likewise, here also 27 minus 27, it is 0. This is free float. Free float is calculated using successor node. Successor node for B is this. Successor node of B F is this. Successor node of I is this. So you have to consider the earliest successor node of this for calculating the free float. Next one is calculating the independent float. Independent float is calculated using EST of the successor node minus LFT of the predecessor node. EST of the successor node minus LFT of the predecessor node minus duration. So EST of the successor node of A is 2. 2 minus 2. 2 minus 0 minus 2, that is 0. Similarly, you have to calculate for B. B is EST of the successor node is 10 minus 16 minus 8. It is minus. This is how it is calculated. So EST of the successor node minus LFT of this predecessor node minus duration. So this gives 2 minus 0 minus 2, it is 0. For this activity 10 minus 2 minus 8, it is 0. 12 minus, for activity C it is 12 minus 2 minus 10, it is 0. So similarly, you are going to calculate the independent float. Free float will not affect the project duration. The days left will not affect the entire project duration. Here independent float, if it is having the negative value, you have to keep it as 0. Next one is inference float. It is calculated using total float minus free float. Total float minus free float. 0 minus 0 is 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. 0 minus 0 is 6. 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. 7 minus 1 is 6. 12 minus 0 0. 6 minus 6 0. 0 minus 0 0. 12 minus 0 0 0. This is how we are going to calculate total float, free float, independent float and inference float. The formula to calculate total float, independent float and Total float is calculated using LST minus EST or LFT minus EFT. Free float is calculated using EST of the successor node minus EFT. Independent float is calculated using EST of the successor node minus LFT of the predecessor node minus duration. Interfering float is calculated using total float minus free float. This is how we are going to calculate the critical path float using critical path method. Thank you. If you are